Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Green Bay, Schrags, in his decision to choose the desert. I'm picturing Scrooge McDuck diving into his coins.
Yeah, look, if you want to know how it all went down, I spoke with some Cardinals sources yesterday. They were early in on J.J. Watt. They got in touch with him early, but he definitely had other offers and other places to go. And Buffalo, for one, was the one that showed significant interest. The money was right with Arizona, but they also courted him. Steve Keim got in there early and was like, we want you. We are going to build around you. You are going to be the missing piece. They really did invest a lot of time and energy in recruiting J.J. Watt, and I think J.J. Watt felt that love. And then once he agreed, it has been just a honeymoon period the last 24 hours. Oh. First, check out this tweet here from J.J. and really how the Cardinals roll in style. This is the owner of the team and the president, Michael Bidwill, taking his private jet, flying to get J.J. Watt, putting him on the jet with J.J.'s wife, and flying them back to Arizona. Then let's get to last night. Spoke with sources there. There was a dinner held at a restaurant called Ocean 44 in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Nice.
All right, it's in the Scottsdale Fashion Square, right across from the Neiman Marcus. If you're
Nice spot.
Nice spot.
How's the carpaccio?
The carpaccio's delicious,
Okay.
but they rented out the entire back room, and it's Bidwill, it's JJ, it's Cliff Kingsbury, it's Vance Joseph, who was J.J. Watt's defensive coordinator when they were in Houston together. And then, of course, it's Steve Keim, the general manager. They were there celebrating. And it's kind of a microcosm of what the Cardinals represent in today's NFL. I can assure you the Patriots aren't fawning all over any player. I can assure you some of these old school teams, the Giants, are not flying you in and whining and dining you. Cardinals have a young coach who looks at veterans like Larry Fitzgerald and looks at veterans like Chandler Jones, says, do you need a Veterans Day off? You take a Veterans Day off. Do you need to go golfing today? Go golfing. We're going to make sure your body is right for Sunday, and we're going to work with you. I think there's a shifting dynamic in the NFL right now where some of these teams, especially the ones in hot weather, are looking at their players and saying, how can we make this more like the college atmosphere and make it more where you feel like you're part of the program and that you are a star? J.J. Watt got treated like a star yesterday. I think Bruce Arians treats his stars like stars. I don't know if every team in the NFL does that. I don't know if every coach in the NFL does that. But the addition of Cliff Kingsbury into the mix, being able to say, hey, J.J. Watt, we trust you. We know you'll be ready on Sunday. Look at how we treat Larry Fitzgerald. You can get the same thing. I think that sung a lot to J.J. Watt and his body.
Yeah, being courted goes a long way. I think there's a misconception that once guys get into the league, they get paid. Like, you don't want that need for somebody to tell you how great you are. No, if you're a free agent, players want to sit back just like when you were in high school being recruited, somebody to fly in and tell you how great you are. He is treated like a superstar. When you have a very forward-thinking ownership group like that, it goes a long way. Listen, I once heard a long time ago, never choose someone has to think twice about choosing you. It's the same thing with a football team. And people are surprised, well, why did he go to Arizona? Why did he choose to go there? And listen, money, yes, it did have something to do with it. He wants to get paid. He put in work. That's why he's in this position that he is. And then on top of that, being very aggressive and them saying, we need you here. We're close. We are really close, and we need your leadership. And we talked about it last hour, and I think we will continue to until we see him on the field. We opened up this hour with him yelling and screaming and showing his leadership skills in Houston. He's going to do the same type of thing. They have veteran players. DeAndre Hopkins is a veteran player. You know, Patrick Peterson, he might not be there, but you have Chandler Jones, who's a veteran player. You have individuals that can step up and use their voice, and J.J. Watt is going to add to that and amplify that leadership role. It goes a long way. Look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I think it's the prototype.
Young players, right, that are the nucleus of this team and the future of this team. But who showed up in the Super Bowl? Tom Brady, Ndamukong Suh, Gronk, guys that are veteran voices from different places. It goes a long way, and that's why they chose him, and he chose the Arizona Cardinals.
Peter, did dates come to this dinner?
I don't know, actually. I don't know.
I'm interested in the head coach.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, I just want to know who, blonde or brunette?
Probably rolled solo.
Oh, yeah, probably not. I want to tell the story of the 1992 Green Bay Packers.
Okay.
Here's why. The Green Bay Packers in 92, they were 9-7. They didn't make the playoffs. They had a really promising, talented young quarterback, Brett Favre, and a totally unproven head coach, Mike Holmgren. Meanwhile, Reggie White is leaving Philadelphia, maybe the greatest defensive player to ever live. And if you look at the landscape in the NFL back then, it's the Niners, it's the Cowboys, it's Washington. They're dominating. Reggie White chose to become a Green Bay Packer and took huge money and then proceeded to take huge heat. Philadelphia Talk Radio tore him apart. He's a soulless mercenary. He doesn't want to win. He just went to the highest bidder. on and on and on. And here he is sacking John Elway on his way eventually to winning a Lombardi trophy because he believed in that promising young quarterback. He believed in the head coach, and it all worked out swimmingly. Reggie White also said, look, I just want to go somewhere to be happy. In Philadelphia, it got so miserable, it got so unhappy. I just want to go someplace where I felt a good vibe. He liked Wisconsin, he liked the small town, and he liked the talent. I bring this up because there's a lot of parallels to JJ. Do you think Houston was a good place to work right now? I mean, did that seem anything other than toxic?
That's a good point.
And he goes out and he's like, we're gonna live in the desert, and I'm gonna play with this young coach who's totally different, and we got steak dinners and carpaccio, and I get to play with DeAndre again, and you're gonna pay me huge money, and you have a really talented young quarterback. I'm in. And if anybody wants to say, JJ should have taken $800,000 to join the Chiefs. Sorry, that's not it. And maybe he didn't want to live in Buffalo and play for the Bills. Maybe he didn't want to go for those contenders that we have already given the championship to next year. He did very similar to what Reggie White did, a player of his ilk, and that Reggie White took all the way to the top of the mountain. So be very careful just saying, JJ grabbed money, he doesn't want to win. I think he wants both, and I think he may get both.
And he might. It's an ascending team. I love it. Okay, so we're talking about free agency. We're into March now. It's just around the corner. We played over the big free agents, and it all comes back to the Patriots for me, Schrags, because you're talking about this courting process and how it definitely played into the landing spot. Yes, there's playing alongside Chandler Jones, and there's the fact that it's an ascending team, and the good weather in the desert doesn't hurt. But it's like when I'm dating someone, I love the courting process. I need it. I need the gestures. I like a say anything moment. Can a team like the Patriots, who needs to make moves and they have money, can they adjust and court like these other teams are doing? Because are they going to have to, or is their hand going to be forced? Because if I've got two dudes and I'm dating them, which is really what these free agencies are doing, like agency guys are doing, the guy who courts me the most and like puts it out there is gonna win.
Let me ask you this. If you're talking to two dudes, one guy comes in, he says all the right things.
Yeah.
He's very romantic. He's smooth, he's slick with his words. He makes you feel good and tingly inside. Mm-hmm. The other guy has a ton
Is he just talking, or is he like, you know?
It's genuine.
Okay.
The other guy has a ton of jewelry. And by jewelry, I mean rings.
No.
The Patriots come in and they say, what do you want me to tell you? Aside from the fact that we win Super Bowls.
I think that it's different because I saw what culture and fun and courting did for a team that won the Super Bowl this past year.
I would say this. The Patriots have the third most cap space in the entire NFL.
So they'll just write a check.
They have to spend, they have to do, and money still talks. But I can't see Belichick fawning and doing flips and calling.
Well, then get with the times.
But
I hear
what
you
about
saying
Kraft?
the Patriots would never do that. I'm like, well, then do it. You
Yeah.
aren't the Patriots anymore. Tom Brady's gone. Fawn. Go out to the steakhouse. What are you doing?
I know.
Don't you think Kraft will get on his jet and be
It was
like, come
one
here?
season, Kyle. Don't panic.
But what's the
Patriots-
plan?
The plan is
do you
to
see
do what they always been
Belichick
doing.
calling DJ Moore tonight and being like, DJ, man, we really need you. We're going to pay you $12.
Hey, Chris Godwin,
They're
man.
like, we want to build around
He's had
you.
Teddy Bruschi and Junior Seau and Willie McGinnis. Like, can he really just change at 70 and say, hey, I'm suddenly going to
Better. He doesn't have the same quarterback.
I'm going to go do flips and
rings
recruit
still
Matt
bling.
Milano?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see it.
It's going to be fascinating
Evolve or
to
die.
watch if it
I know,
works or
I
not.
know.
Like, are they going to get the date?
I think players are still impressed by the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And if you can show them all of the jewelry and all of the trophies that you have, instead of saying, listen, man, you want to hop on the private jet and you want to go get a steak dinner tonight with the lobster and the shrimp, players would be like, I don't care about the food. Can I win a championship here? And the Patriots can say that more than any other team.
Are you saying that as a wise, sage wisdom,
point, Kay.
looking back, Nate Burleson? Because I asked you yesterday, put
valid.
yourself
That's
in the
valid.
shoes of these players.
That's valid.
And you said, I would tell my younger self this. But what
That's
if
valid.
you were that younger self?
I want that money and I want to be courted. So you might be right.
Belichick
Okay.
and the bar doesn't have the same game. Like
That's what I'm saying. Spit some
it's
game.
like Brady is gone. It's like all of a sudden, you know, he's bald or something. Or his teeth fell out. Like he doesn't have this. He lost all his jokes, all of
is
that.
beautiful.
I know. No, I don't want to get bald triggered or anything, but you know what I'm saying. Like
There's more holes in
And
the
also,
sweater.
Yeah.
Also, I would imagine the guy is a lot more attractive when he's got the beautiful woman next to him. When she leaves and he's like, post, you know, it's not the same.
I agree. He's gone from the Gosling to Carell in the bar now. He's with a vodka cranberry.
There is something that he's had relationships that have lasted, that have been successful. There's something to that, too.
What was that movie even
Attractive.
called?
We'll get into
Sexy
this.
Love.